Hey everybody, Dr. Tim Harrigan here with Synergy Wellness. I've got Penny from Urconia. She'll tell us a little bit more about herself here shortly, but I wanted to give you a quick kind of presentation on the laser. This is by far the most effective, beneficial, non-invasive, safe, you name it, physiotherapy we have ever found. And we've used electrical stim, ultrasound, TENS units, all that stuff in the past. And this is by far the most profound tool we found to increase healing in our patients. So just a quick couple things here. This presentation is meant for informational purposes only. It is not meant to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure anything. It is solely the opinion of Dr. Tim, and Penny will get into some actual research and stuff as well, but also speak with your healthcare provider regarding any change to your healthcare plan. So guys, a little bit about me. I have been practicing for over a decade. I have not had a prescription medication in over 16 years now. My kids have never taken any medications in a lifetime. So the point of me telling you that is whenever I source something, I've created my practice, basically how I take care of myself and my family. So when we source a physiotherapy, a technique, a lab, a type of test, or a formula, nutritional products, you name it, I always make sure we're literally using the best in the world, because this is how we take care of ourselves. So just one quick testimonial from us, Penny. My wife was actually diagnosed infertile literally over a decade ago. She was told she would never have children. Well, that's kind of funny. It's a little different picture that we see there. So she had PCOS, endometriosis, and all kinds of other issues, lactose intolerance. And we have 4 children now, 8 years old and under. So what we do works very well. It seems kind of like voodoo to some people. Some people just don't understand the science, and everything we do is very evidence-based and science-based. But you guys, we get testimonials like these all the time with our natural health clinic. So here's my daughter. This is a little laser video we're showing you here. I want to give you kind of the most important aspects of the laser. This is my daughter lasering her brain. She actually fell off a chair at a restaurant. Penny, I don't think I told you this. She fell off a chair at a restaurant a few years ago, and it was just a normal sized chair, you know, 1.5 feet, 2 foot off the ground or whatever. And she hit her head on the ground and knocked herself out from just a normal height chair. She's literally knocked out. So I laser her brain all the time because we don't want any, you know, residual issues. Concussions can be, they compound, basically. They never really heal properly unless you have tools like this. So this is her under the laser. And the point of me showing this is just because it's totally non-invasive. Most people are actually skeptical because they don't feel anything happening, which is kind of cool. I was skeptical when I learned about these. I was skeptical actually, Penny, when we bought one. And now it's been phenomenal. So we can't say enough about it. So that's why we're trying to spread the word about it a little bit more. Most people have inflammation. I mean, this has just been proven. Almost all of us have excess inflammation in our body. Every disease process is inflammatory. So it's excess inflammation in certain organs or whatever. So this is what they call the silent killer. A lot of us are affected by it, and you don't even have to have pain for this to be going on. So the laser, obviously we'll get into it shortly, but is anti-inflammatory as well. So everyone has a physician inside him or her. We just have to help it in its work. The natural healing force within us is the greatest force in getting well. So I always point this out because people think they need external forces, medications, and all these other things to help their healing process. And those usually literally slow down the healing process. So your brain and spinal cord and your heart and everything else, that's how we heal. If I cut my finger, my brain and my innate intelligence, so to speak, knows how to heal that. I would bleed to death if I had to be in charge of that, right, consciously. So I want people to realize your body's designed to heal, and it's always trying to. Okay, so Penny, if you want to give a little background on these lasers, they are completely FDA cleared. They're phenomenal. I want to make sure people understand there is the science, the research, and the credibility behind them, and it's not some sort of, you know, garage sale light device that, you know, it's like voodoo stuff. So I have that out there.
And thanks for inviting me. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Tim for quite a few years now. And I do remember the first time that he looked at our lasers, and I've had the pleasure of working with our chiropractic group for about 20 years. And like Dr. Tim, I owned a clinic in Mesa, Arizona, and I partnered up with a chiropractor. And this was 18 years ago, and we kept hearing about lasers and how lasers could really help healing and help healing fast. And so I did a lot of research, and we ended up bringing a laser into our clinic, just like Dr. Tim has brought one into his clinic. Actually, he's brought many into his clinic. And like Dr. Tim, I was so enthusiastic because we just wanted to do more with patients. And I meet a lot of doctors. I've been in this industry 20 years. And when I meet those like Dr. Tim that just wholeheartedly wants to help the patients heal, we're in a toxic world. So it's so awesome that he invited me to come and join him today
Thank you very
talk
much.
about it. So Arconia, let's talk about Arconia. The reason that I brought the Arconia laser into my clinic is they were the first company in the world to get FDA clearance on a low-level laser. And they did that in 2002. And right now in the world, and they've been making these lasers for about 22 years, right now in the world, there's over 21 FDA clearances. And Arconia, as a company, they own 18 of those. So they can say they're the most research safest effective laser on the marketplace because they do very, very expensive studies. They're level 1A, they're randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind studies, and no other companies really do that. And even though we are American-made, we're right there in Melbourne, Florida, we sell international. So again, they're the most safest effective laser in the marketplace because they've done the studies to prove. And I don't even think they scratched the surface of what they can do with these lasers. But yeah, that's a little bit of history about Arconia. I don't know, do you want me to elaborate a little bit more or?
Yeah, so I know that for a while, we've had chronic low back pain FDA clearance and plantar fasciitis. So
Right.
What was the newest one? And we've been using it this way. We can't claim anything, of course, before this clearance, but I would use it on myself for all kinds of different ailments. I bought it for a knee injury that I had actually. And it was
Right.
the only thing after 2 months that actually helped my knee start healing. And I had a torn meniscus. I didn't have any surgery or anything. So what is the newest clearance that we have?
Yeah, so the recent clearance, so like you mentioned, we have an FDA clearance for plantar fasciitis, FDA clearance for chronic low back, and those are two big FDA clearances. That was a huge feather in our cap. And then Arconia went after any kind of pain within the body. So it's a full body pain FDA clearance. And that's a huge feather in the cap because now you can use your device to treat any kind of pain anywhere in the body. And that's, again, people have pain not just in the low back or the plantar fasciitis, they have pain pretty much everywhere. So that was a huge FDA clearance.
And it's phenomenal. We've been using it that way, like I said, for a few years. And I'm just astounded. I mean, 19, I would say, let's be more pessimistic. So at least 9 out of 10 things that I would laser on myself and my family and stuff would get better more quickly than if we weren't doing it. It's been phenomenal. So, you know, can you explain just, I was skeptical when we got it. People don't feel anything happening. I realize it's not invasive unless you point it in your eye. And, you know, there's even some science behind that. But can you just talk about, you know, why people are skeptical about it and why it works so well? Just a brief little explanation on that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that laser research has actually been in this country for about 50 years. That's 50. And Arconia has been studying the research for 22 years. So what you're looking at here is just some of the benefits of lasers. With laser research being in this country, when you look at a laser, it's also called a low-powered laser, which is also noted as a cold laser. You don't feel anything. There are some devices out there that they call themselves cold lasers, but they actually heat the tissue. That's not a true cold laser, and those are actually class 4 devices. They've only been cleared to heat the tissue. Arconia, when they got FDA clearance in 2002, the FDA didn't really know what to do with them because every other laser up until that point heated the tissue. So they created a new product code called an NHN, which is a non-heating device. So when you take the Arconia laser and you put it over your skin, you feel nothing. If you feel a tingling sensation, that's basically oxygenation and blood flow to the area. You're not going to necessarily feel the laser. So we proved that there was a photochemical reaction within the powerhouse to the cell, which is the mitochondria, to give energy back to injured cells. So everybody has cells in the body. Every cell in the body has a job to do. If it doesn't have energy, it's not going to do its job. So what the Arconia lasers do, it restores this cellular energy so those cells can do what they need to do, and healing takes place. So when you look at this slide, of course, they're non-toxic. There's no contraindications. We just say don't shine in the eyes, over pregnancy, or over pacemakers. They're non-invasive. You don't feel anything. They're easy to apply. Most of the applications might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even 20 minutes. Sometimes we can even go through the clothing as well. There's no side effects. They're absolutely safe for the 22 years. We've not seen any side effects, and we're talking zirconia lasers. We can't speak for other lasers. And they are effective. 90% of the time, when we administer a laser treatment, there'll be a change with the pain, range of motion, and muscle strength. When you look at coming in for laser treatment, multiple laser treatments are beneficial for the healing process of tissues, meaning that there's a cumulative effect. So when you come in to see Dr. Tim, he's going to set you up with a program of care that'll fit into your schedule. And that could be once a week, that could be a couple times a week, and he'll set the pace for you. And then you just come in because it's a cumulative effect. They're very effective. That's why we have level 1A studies. Reduces need for surgery. Yeah, I meet patients all the time that are scheduled for surgery. They'll go in to see our doctors, and all of a sudden they'll canceling their surgery because there's been we call it regenerative medicine, because you're actually regenerating. And then if for some reason you do go in for surgery, what we're finding is that in a lot of cases, when you get laser treatment after surgery, is that we can speed the healing up to 40%, and in some cases 50% faster. Now that's really important, because if you're trying to decide whether or not to go into surgery, because I know you have to get back to your normal activities, your job, your hobbies, taking care of your family, the value of having to speed up your surgery, post-surgery, up to 40% faster is huge. So that's another great thing that you can do with coming in to see Dr. Tim for post-surgery laser treatment.
And we see that every week almost. I mean, we see that we have those testimonials literally almost daily now, at least several times a week. So sometimes after just a couple different treatments. So guys, Penny kind of emphasized some of this stuff, but we've used it for so many different things. The testimonials are so broad spectrum. Honestly, I get excited when we start lasering somebody because we don't even know what's going to happen. We always know it's beneficial. 19 out of 20 people, I would say, benefit from it, and they notice the benefit. It's not like we're telling them they benefit. They actually notice a change. So it improves the vascular supply. It reduces the scar tissue. So many different things. We've used it on neuropathy, cases. I mean, you name it. We could probably dig up a testimonial somewhere. So I also want to emphasize with people, Penny, because I get a lot of this, a lot of people coming in thinking, like, is it infrared? Is it LED? It's like, no, those are not lasers. And I see a lot of practitioners out there calling their light therapy, which there's benefit to. I can't say there's no benefit to them, but it's not a laser benefit. Laser is where it's at, and the laser is where the most research is.
Do you want me to touch on that real quick? Because
yeah, sure.
that really is an important thing, because you'll hear light therapy. I know that even tanning salons, you'll see these pods that are popping up. Please understand that all lasers or light therapy devices are not the same. What really differentiates lasers or light therapy devices is the wavelength and the power. And then there's also LEDs. So the difference between a true laser diode and an LED is Zirconia makes true laser diodes. It's the coherency of the photons going in the same direction at the same time at the same wavelength. There's an efficiency with that. LEDs, the photons are scattered. So you have to put LEDs, they're like pads. It's a pad that you put on the skin. So with the Zirconia laser, there's that line-generated beam, and so Dr. Tim can treat big areas. With LEDs, again, the photons are scattered. It's just like the lighting in the ceiling. Those photons are scattered. If you take a flashlight and you turn it on, those photons are scattered. There's no inefficiency that you're going to get with a true laser diode. Now, when you go up above 740 nanometers, you're now in the infrared spectrum of light. As you go further up into the infrared, the photon is less efficient, so you're not going to get that same efficiency that you will with an Zirconia 635 nanometer wavelength. So again, what really differentiates light therapy devices is the wavelength and the power. So Zirconia, looking at research and doing their own research for 22 years, has perfected the right wavelength and the right power. Again, going back to owning 18 of the 21 FDA clearances in the world on low-level lasers. So that's really an important slide.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, all of us get injured, you guys. I mean, even repetitive motions create injuries. So just a quick slide on that. We have the pre-injury, the injured strain tissue, and then if we don't heal properly, or we overheal, or we're not doing things while we're healing properly, or my diet is terrible, or I don't have good circulation, you build up scar tissue, and that scar tissue now inhibits my overall biomechanical function, which, I've seen people with shoulder injuries where their gait starts to change, for example. Everything is connected. So we want that healing to occur more effectively and properly so that I don't have that excess tissue. And most people, they go to the NSAIDs. This drives me crazy, Penny. I mean, so this is just one slide on this. I have hundreds of articles of research, how dangerous these are. People think over the counter, safe. Absolutely not. So the FDA estimates that NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, account for a reported 200,000 cases of just gastrointestinal bleeding cases. And that's what's reported. And I read a slide a few weeks ago, actually, that says less than 10% of these adverse reactions are actually reported, which is scary. So it's much bigger than this probably. And over 107,000 hospitalizations and 20,000 deaths, guys. So this, again, that's what's reported. So low-level laser therapy, guys, just a little recap. We use this for pain. Of course, it reduces inflammation, which we showed earlier. Almost every condition in your body is an inflammatory response, over-inflammation. Increases blood flow, stimulates nerve and tissue growth. It improves memory and focus. So that's a whole different topic, is the brain studies. We talked about the clearances. Guys, these aren't new. These are in professional sports teams. I've been using them on hundreds of patients, let alone myself, literally every day, Penny. I'll laser at least my brain or something else.
Yeah.
Guys, if you want more information on this, I just urge you to go to pubmed.gov. Just type in the 4 words, low-level laser therapy. There are over 7,200 studies now showing benefit, really no side effects. So reach out to me with questions, guys. My email is down below, Dr. Tim Harrigan at sinwellness.com. Penny, you are amazing. Thank you for introducing these to me. Thank you for getting me past the skepticism, because we've changed so many people's lives with this just in our practice. So we always want to make sure we're using the best, because again, this is how we take care of myself and my family. So thank you very much, Penny.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me join you.
All right. Bye-bye.